Good afternoon. Your attention is invited to the presentation on the topic Ecological tourism in the industrial environment and new visions. Ecologization of thinking and godization of life are processes that have greatly influenced motives behind ways to spend free time in recent decades. Ecotourism has become a way of exploring unique and exotic natural landscapes and a tool for their preservation. Such an interpretation of ecotourism deprives residents of large industrial cities located far from such environmental sites of the opportunity to join the process of ecological cognition. The available sources analyzed by the authors interpret the concept of ecotourism merely through the environmental prism. The concept of ecological truth, which reveal only the problem of protecting natural landscapes. The article aims to interpret ecotourism and excursions through the prism of familiarizing visitors with negative consequences of human impact on the environment, to reveal the content, methodological features of preparing and conducting ecological excursions, to perform a statistical analysis of ecological tours and excursions conducted. Methodology. 2023 expeditionary research ecological educational practice allowed us to identify potential sites for ecological excursions and tours. 2010-2015 formulation of theoretical practical testing of selected forms and methods of excursion work, creation of ASES ecological excursions. In 2015 we introduced ecological excursions in Kryvyi Rih, which we began to organize regularly for the general public, and we confirmed the theoretical findings, the essence of ecological tourism and excursions as a type of industrial and sustainable tourism is comprehensively substantiated at the theoretical, empirical and methodological levels. Problematic aspects of the classical interpretation of the concepts of ecological tourism and ecological excursion. There is no exhaustive definition of the concept of ecological excursion, not only for school children and students, not only to natural areas. Development and conducting of ecological excursions into nature in the competence of individual specialists, which significantly narrows the possibilities of interpreting environmental problems for the general population and does not form a comprehensive vision of the essence of environmental process and phenomena. There are no clear methodological recommendations for preparing, organizing and conducting ecological excursion to real environmental sites. The tourist market lacks environmental tools that would reveal the genesis and show the consequences of environmental problems. The niche in tourism and the concept of ecological tools are not defined, as they are considered as cognitive tools to nature, but they sources, but a type of ecological tourism in content and essence. Ecotourism in its classical interpretation involves the study of natural landscapes in their natural state, mainly within specially protected areas. But not all regions of the world have high natural resources potential. For example, industrial regions such as the city of Kryvyi Rih, which have been heavily transformed by human activity and technology, are characterized by a new industrial artificially created environment. However, this does not mean that there are no ecotourism facilities in such areas. In the author's opinion, the situation is quite the opposite. Observation, study and analysis of industrial landscapes, environmental situation of varying degrees of severity, formation of environmental problems and methods of solving them and other are perhaps the best option for ecotourism objects. Ecotourism in the author's interpretation is a type of industrial and sustainable tourism. It is aimed as traveling to ecological tourist objects, not necessarily natural, that demonstrate manifestations of various environmental problems and their consequences in order to carry out ecological education and nurturing. These include various landscapes that have undergone negative anthropogenic changes, have recovered from such change on their own or have been reclaimed and operating industrial facilities with a clear ecological function. For example, an aeration plant where municipal wastewater is treated, waste sorting plants, solid waste landfills, and others. Ecological objects in the industrial environment are the ones of both ecotourism and ecological excursions. An ecological excursion is a focused, demonstrable process of learning ecological objects which take place under the guidelines of a qualified guide and aims to form ecological knowledge, skills and abilities, observe ecosystems and processes, familiarize with environmental problems and negative consequences of human economic activity from economical use of natural conditions and resources in everyday life, expand the ecological worldview. Ecological excursions are accessible for a wide range of visitors. They perform several important functions: educational, recreational, social, economic, and that of sustainable tourism development. The main purpose of ecological excursion is to reveal the essence of global environmental problems and consequences of their manifestation on local examples, form elementary environmental knowledge, develop the basics of research and environmental behavioral skills, broaden the worldview, form an activity way of spending recreational leisure time. Classification of ecological excursions. There are thematic and sightseeing ecological excursion and tours when objects of thematic excursions are included in programs of tours around Kryvyi Rih, which are conducted in various organizational forms, an ecological trail, an ecological excursion of an industrial enterprise, an ecological excursion of an educational practice, and others. The process of developing, testing, and conducting ecological excursion in the industrial environment has a number of specifics. Their features are related to the specifics of ecological objects themselves, the environmental process explained by the guide, and the interactive format of the excursions, which use elements of scientific research. The guide on ecological roads should be familiar with the ecological and geographical terminology and have a sufficient level of professional skills to explain complex ecological and technological process in a simple, easy to understand manner. The authors of the research are practicing guides who have developed and conducted ecological tours and excursions in Kryvyi Rih. The specificity of the developed ecological excursions consists in the fact that they are available to a wide range of visitors, both school children and students, as well as city residents, domestic and international tourists, and are aimed at visualizing global and local environmental problems and learning about the industrial environment through interactive participation in a simple scientific ecological investigation, identifying local environmental problems and clarifying their personal role and responsibility in emergency of global problems of humankind. During testing, some ecological objects proved to be so attractive that the authors included them in the programs of tours around Kryvyi Rih. In general, a visit to our city cannot do without touching upon environmental issues, even during a sightseeing tours. The authors have created 4 tours, routes of thematic ecological excursions which aim to form an understanding of global problems of humanity through local example of unsustainable use of natural conditions and resources, through personal experience of observing, analyzing, and assessing various ecological situations in the industrial environment. During 2016-2023, excluding 2021-2022, the authors of the research conducted about 80 ecological excursions, excluding sightseeing tours, for 1,500 tourists. Revival of Kryvyi Rih water was the most popular excursion before major law, but now its object are strategic facilities of the city infrastructure. Breaking Conventin's Kryvyi Rih solid waste landfill was the last popular route. In general, the ecological excursions developed and introduced in excursions activities by the authors of the research are relevant for the whole world, and while in some countries such excursions are conducted for school children and students, in Kryvyi Rih ecological excursions have been tested and are available for a wide range of visitors. A new look at ecotourism in the industrial environment can be a way of rethinking the essence of classical concepts. The involvement of industrial and post-industrial landscapes not only as industrial tourism objects, functioning industrial enterprises, reclaimed and revitalized spaces in the ecotourism sector will significantly expand the possibilities of achieving the goals of ecological education and nurturing and shaping the ecological worldview of all residents of the planet Earth. The interpretation of ecotourism allows understanding the nature, causes of global environmental problems and possible methods of solving them through understanding the participation and responsibility of everyone. Real-time visual observation of the entire cause and effect chain is perhaps the best way to shape environmentally sound human behavior. Just watching a movie about global environmental issues can have an ecological and educational impact, but it is quite clear that once visiting a sewage treatment plant, the visitor will defiantly understand the rules of using sanitary appliance in everyday life, joy in saving water, not clogging sewage systems with garbage and other. These examples confirm the timelines of the author's theoretical research and its practical results, the environmental, economic and social significance of ecological excursions and tools implemented in excursions activities, opportunities for further theoretical and empirical research on ecotourism in the industrial environment. Thank you for your attention.